The 73rd Amendment of the Indian Constitution has brought a revolutionary change by ensuring participation of women through reservation in all three tiers of the Panchayati Raj system. Active participation of women leaders in the decision-making process of local governance has changed the definition of development altogether. Since 2004, the Hunger Project has been working in Odisha, encouraging women leadership in Gram Panchayats. After some initial training, motivation and with an enabling environment, these women leaders have managed to give a new direction to development. They not only work to solve the physical problems but also seek remedies to social issues too. Meet Kalyani Behera, Naib Sarpanch of Govindpur Panchayat in Denkalar district. She is a simple rural woman who was totally ignorant about politics before being elected. She didn't possess any knowledge about the Gram Sabha and its functions. She has gradually learned the nitty-gritties of politics after winning the election. In Govindpur Panchayat, the ratio of girl students was less compared to the boys. Parents were not sending their girl children to school. Kalyani stepped forward to convince such parents and justify the significance of education for girls. As a result of her efforts, the dropout rate of girl students has reduced considerably. Likewise, Kalyani also visits regularly the Anganwadi centers to check their registers. She checks the condition of pregnant women in this locality and provides all support. She is not only the people's representative but also a social worker, ever ready to help people. Kalyani is an idol and inspiration for all.
First, we learn about Gram Sabha, Pali Sabha, who will preside them from our trainings. Whatever we learn from the trainings, we try to implement them in our panchayats, like checking the cash book, asserting our rights in the panchayats. In my area, school dropout rates, particularly of girls, were very high. To stop this, I went door to door, met with the parents of those girls and persuaded them to send their kids to the school. Now girl students ratio has increased considerably. I regularly go to the Anganwadis to check their register, to see how many pregnant women are registered and whether the services are being delivered as per norm or not, whether I shall remain in any post or not. But now I shall continue to serve my community in future.
Meet another woman leader, Ranjita Sethi, Sarpanch of Baligorada Panchayat of Kamakhya Nagar block in Dhenkanal district. There was one A&M center in this village, but it had no permanent building and service delivery was poor. The situation was further aggravated by casteism, which Ranjita had herself experienced before becoming the Sarpanch. After becoming the Sarpanch, she worked towards solving this issue. She fulfilled her long-cherished dream of improving the healthcare services, particularly for women. This earned her the love and support of the people.
Earlier there were no house for A&M Center and it was operated from a private house. When I was not in Sarpanch post, I had to go there with my sick daughter. But I faced caste discrimination. But when I became Sarpanch, her behavior towards me changed. She respectfully called me inside. The incidents made me realize that we should not be at someone else's mercy and we should have our own A&M center. So I worked hard to get an A&M center sanctioned in our area.
The story of Saudamini Das is also inspiring. She is the Sarpanch of Sadakana Panchayat in Khurda district. The Panchayat had a sanctioned hospital, but it was without a good building and no doctor used to come. Saudamini stepped forward to solve this problem with the support of the people. She met the CDMO, district collector and many administrative bodies and expressed how the villagers were facing problems due to lack of health services. Due to her persistence, her demand for a proper hospital was met. A new building for the hospital was constructed and initially one Ayush doctor, a pharmacist and an A&M were posted there. People provided furniture and other items for the hospital. Moreover, under Saudamini's leadership, the Panchayat provided all sorts of assistance. As a result, people are now getting the basic health service. The credit for improving the health services in the Panchayat goes to Saudamini.
After getting elected, I realized that though we have a primary health center sanctioned, but doctors never used to come to our Panchayat. I decided to work on this issue on a priority basis. So I raised this issue in front of CDMO, collector and also in our Samiti meeting. Finally, after raising this issue many times, one Ayush doctor, one AMN and one pharmacist were posted and our medical center got operational. There were no equipment for the center, not even chair, table, light, etc. We mobilized resources from our Panchayat and also from local people to get chair, table, cots, etc. for the center. We even had to run several times to get electrification for the center. Now our efforts have been paid off and some equipments have just arrived. This is not only a PHC, but many people around this Panchayat also rely upon this hospital. When we came for the first time, there were no electricity, no equipments in this hospital. Even Rogi Kalyan Samiti was not formed. Since Sarpanch is a woman, I can talk to her freely, and she even mobilized villagers to donate fans, chairs for the hospital.
After solving the hospital issue, Saudamini noticed that women were being confined to their houses while there were many other livelihood options. Saudamini made an attempt to make them self-reliant. She decided to establish a sewing center to provide them with a livelihood option. The sewing center stands testimony to the efforts of Saudamini. 10 sewing machines were bought for the center and more than 30 women are now working at the center. It was Saudamini's foresight which boosted the self-confidence of women who are no more confined to their homes and have stepped out to become self-dependent.
I saw that even though there are SHGs in our Panchayat, but women are not self-reliant. So I decided to do something about this. I consulted some people about it. Finally, one gentleman agreed to donate some sewing machines. I called the SHG members and informed them about this. Now about 30 women are coming to learn and earn in the center.
Meet Jarmani Maji, Sarpanch of Khera Panchayat of Nuapara district. She is very active in empowering women of her area. Water is a major problem here. Water contamination has affected people's health. People have been crippled, some are bedridden, some can't stand properly, and some cannot move their limbs. Fluoride contamination is the main reason behind these conditions. People have used this water for many years. Germany took up this issue on priority. She met the district administration many times for a solution and her demand was finally fulfilled after several attempts. Special water filters have been installed to provide fluoride-free water to the people.
When I became an elected leader, I started to work on land development as most of the people in this area depend upon agriculture. This work is still going on. All fluoride content in water is a big problem here. Due to this, many people are crippled. Many are deaf. I raised this issue in front of government. After raising this issue again and again, officer came from government and checked the water. Now some 7 to 8 filters have been installed by government. The water quality checking is still going on for other tube wells.
Kaipadar is a tribal village of Karlapat Panchayat of Thuamul Rampur block in Kalahandi district. The village is proud of Kaushalya Majhi, who is the ward member of ward number 1. Due to lack of proper communication, people of this ward were deprived of many basic services. They had to walk almost 8 kilometers to Karlapat for receiving their quota of rice. The journey was hard and many times it was difficult for them to return at night. Hardly any vehicle plied on that road. Kaushalya raised this issue in the Panchayat meeting and she demanded that the PDS rice be distributed in Kaipadar. Her demand was granted on the condition that she had to undertake the responsibility of the entire process. Undaunted, Kaushalya took up the responsibility and even provided her own house to store the PDS products. As a result, the people of this ward are now receiving regular supply of rice and other commodities through the PDS. They do not have to travel far as in the past. She even managed the presence of a supply assistant during the distribution. Kaushalya has made all these possible.
Public were facing great difficulty to get their rice. They have to walk for 3 kilometers and then take a vehicle to Karlapat. They have to get down at Karlapat Chowk and again have to walk for 6 kilometers. After purchasing rice from the Panchayat office, sometimes they had even to stay entire night as there were no vehicle to come back. I raised this issue in front of our Panchayat. Even took of our help Alibha Federation. I demanded a solution for this in front of BDO. Sarpanch and PEO were reluctant to release the rice quota to be distributed outside. They said they can do this if I would take the risk of any mishap. I said I can take this risk as long as I am in power. They said since there were no place to keep the rice, will you give place in your own house? So I agreed to give a room in my own house to store rice. Now rice is getting distributed from here only. For last 2 months, one distribution assistant is employed for better distribution of rice. To monitor the distribution, I always remain present during the process.
Meet Rambha Nayak, Naib Sarpanch of Karada Singh Panchayat in Gajpati district. She is admired by her community for her work. There was no proper road connecting her village. The children used to go to school in hilly and muddy streets. They also had to dangerously cross a stream. Rambha took the initiative to solve this problem. She discussed the issue with the Sarpanch and finally construction of a bridge began. As a result of the bridge, the villagers, particularly children, are not facing any difficulty in transportation.
My first work is to make a good road for school, as that road was in a very bad condition. It was so bad that my parents had to accompany kids to make them cross few swamps. So when Sarpanch made a visit to my village, I showed him this road and demanded for a road. He agreed. I asked the Mashan to complete the road, walking late at night so that children could go safely next morning. That day the walk went up to 1 a.m. of night and I was present at the site.
Rambha's success story is long. This village, S. Krishnapur, situated in the top of a hill, has 11 families. It lacks transportation and communication facilities. People in this remote area faced many hardships. There was no water and electricity, and they were deprived of all basic facilities. Ramba convinced them to come down to make new shelters and promised them that she would help them in accessing the government schemes. Due to her efforts, 7 families now have proper Pakka house under the Indira Awas Yojana and receive the benefits of other government schemes. They are staying happily in this new habitat, and the rest of the families are also getting inspired by this. Ramba deserves all the credit for making a change in the lives of these people.
Upar Krishnapur people are staying on the top of a hill. They were unaware about the government facilities. They never had a chance to go to the formal schools. They demanded to give Indira Awas to them. I said, if all of you would come down, then only I'd try for sanctioning houses for you. Then I demanded houses for them in Panchayat, saying our people who stayed on the mountain need these houses as they are very poor. Their children cannot avail schooling. Pregnant women face problems. So please sanction houses for them. Even at the cost of our village, Sarpanch also said, if they would come down, we can do something. I assured that I would motivate them to come down. In this way, I had to coordinate between both Panchayat and these people to get 7 Indira Awas houses sanctioned.
Drinking water was a major problem. People had to walk far to collect water. This made Ramba very much concerned, and she dug a well with her own expense, thereby solving the water problem to some extent.
There were no drinking water here. They had to travel quite far to fetch water. I asked them, don't you feel tired after fetching water from distance? They replied, what can we do? Our previous ward member did not even listen to our request to have a well here. He said, for such a small population, I cannot sanction well. So we are bringing water from Tala Sahi. They even used pond water for cooking, which is very polluted. So I decided to make a well here. People advised me against it and said, you will be in loss. But I was adamant and started digging a well here. Initially thought the cost will be less. But since this is a stony area, digging cost went up to 1 lakh. After the construction got over, I asked Sarpanch to sanction some money for it. He managed to sanction only 50,000 for it, though I have to bear 50,000 from my own pocket. I'm not unhappy. Rather, I'm proud that I have constructed a well which has made positive change in people's life.
Likewise, many agricultural land remained barren due to lack of irrigation. Ramba took the initiative to solve this problem as well. She dug a trench at the bottom of the hill. This stopped water from overflowing from the hill and also from the pond above. Her initiative saved the village from being submerged during rainy season and also provided irrigation. There is greenery everywhere in the area.
The pond water used to overflow and flood our village. I thought to do something to utilize this water. So I thought of constructing a drain to channelize the flow of water to agricultural fields. So I constructed a drain for about 6 lakh. Now that water can be used for rabi cultivation during summer season.
Struggle brings success in life. Success in turn generates happiness. These women leaders showed us how to lead from the front. They strived hard for the happiness of their community and are prominent symbols of women empowerment.